All right, folks, Brian Blessing in Las Vegas. It's the opening line report for, you guessed it, a new name, Super Wild Card Weekend. Glad to be with you, VegasInsider.com. Here's the opening line report where we think the numbers are going to go. 6 games next week, 3 on Saturday, 3 on Sunday. Should be great fun. The game right out of the gate, Indy's at Buffalo, 6.5. The Bills favored at home. Total on this game is 52.5. Weather forecast looks good a week out. Doesn't look like there's precipitation or snow. Could get windy in Orchard Park. But what do you do with this Bills offense? They are just slinging it around, and they are just lighting defenses up. And now you get John Brown back in the lineup. Cole Beasley, they hope he'll be back. He was ruled out of Week 17 against the Dolphins. The Bills smashed Miami, who wanted the game desperately. But Isaiah McKenzie, obviously, had 3 touchdowns, and he could fill in for Beasley. Bills do have to run the football better, though, with Diggs and Moss. That could be the bugaboo for them as the postseason commences. Indy, it got a little sketchy for a while against the Jags, but they got the win. The big story here is Indy's going to want to come in. They're going to shorten the game. They don't want Rivers throwing it all over the place, making mistakes. And their running back, listen, Taylor's a stud. This kid had an incredible game. He went bananas. He had 230 yards rushing in that win over the Jags, and that's going to be the recipe for success in them in this football game. That is run the football and win the turnover battle. But the Bills are on a Tootsie Roll, the number 2 seed, and honestly, for them, now you got to beat who's in front of you. But I can tell you that the Bills would say this fell perfectly for them. The Tennessee and Baltimore play each other. One of them's out. One of them goes to play Kansas City if Pittsburgh beats Cleveland. But we'll see. It's been a great year for the Bills, and they're actually going to get fans, 6,700 of them, in Orchard Park for the first time this year. That number likely, I believe, will get to 7. And the way Allen's been going, I think the total will actually go up a little bit. But we do have to, again, a week out, check the weather forecast. You never know about lake effect snow coming off Lake Erie. The Rams at Seattle. Seattle, 4.5 was an opener. We're seeing 5s now. Total was 42. It's up to 43. Jared Goff, is there a shot he plays? I don't know. But this Rams defense comes up with a big play. They get a pick 6 against Arizona, and they win the game with John Wolford in replacing Goff. His numbers, 22 of 38, 231 yards, 1 interception. But he ran the ball 6 times for 56 yards. Seemed to be in command of the offense. Clearly, they're limited. But when you look at these two teams, they played punch-in-the-mouth kind of football. 23-16, Rams won on November 15th. 20-9, Seattle gets the win in the game they had to win that ultimately helped them win the division when Carson and Hyde were back in the lineup. Man alive, I don't know. They may just punch each other in the mouth again. And Seattle's play calling's gotten a lot more conservative, and the Rams are clearly limited on offense. 43 is the total. That may come down just a little bit. And then the get-out game on Saturday, Tampa Bay, as we've said all year long, the NFC East winner would be a big home dog. And sure enough, the Bucs are 7.5-point favorites at Washington. Totals 46.5. Brady, they've been slinging it around on offense. Antonio Brown's now a big focal point of the offense. And boy, I'll tell you what, it may end up being a really good thing they got him because Mike Evans got hurt. Whether he'll be able to go or not this week, I don't know. But Brady's been clicking. But against this fierce pass rush from Washington, this one could get a little bit interesting. Alex Smith protects the football, nothing flashy. Washington gets in, a lot of suspect, scratch your head kind of stuff from the Eagles in the Sunday night game. The bottom line is the Redskins are in. Rivera's a great story. Alex Smith's a great story. That defense is a great story. You're going to need Gibson to have a big game running the football, shorten the game, keep the ball out of Tom Brady's hands. I think the total may actually come down a little bit here. Maybe 7s pop up for a little bit, but 7.5 probably is the right number. All right, then we go to Sunday. Baltimore laying 4 at Tennessee, total 54.5. We've seen some early money on the dog at home, and I get it, down to 3.5. The total's gone up from 54.5 to 55. It could even go up another half point, maybe a point. Tennessee can't stop anybody. It's unbelievable. The defense is a sieve. Malcolm Butler can make a big play maybe to save their bacon. But you're giving me points with Derrick Henry in a playoff game. I'm taking it. Baltimore, good for them. Big push end of the year. They were on the outside looking in, fight their way back in. You got to make Jackson be a quarterback here from the pocket. That Tennessee secondary, it's been ugly. But again, with Henry and ball control, and Tannehill's got weapons, the big bomb to A.J. Brown, they get the win at the closing seconds against Houston to get the division and to get the home game. I think 3 is going to be the closing number here. I just think you got to look at Derrick Henry, a 2,000-yard rusher, home dog in the playoffs. Game probably closes 3, and the total may even go back up a little more. Fun game. And again, if things fall right, the winner of this game, they could have something for Kansas City in the following week. And I'm not knocking the Browns' chances against the Steelers, but if the favorites win, the winner of this game plays Kansas City. All right, then Chicago and New Orleans. New Orleans 9.5. Total on the game is 48. It's kind of the sandwich game on Sunday. Listen, the Bears, they get in. They lose 35-16 to the Pack, but that game was a lot closer than that score would lead you to believe. The Bears, if they're going to win the game, they got to win the turnover battle. And that defense is capable of doing just that. New Orleans, an incredibly resilient football team. They keep coming back for more, keep kicking at the door, kicking at it. You got Breeze, you got Hill in the red zone. They want to stretch the field more, and that's the one thing that the Saints have not been able to do. And then you have the question mark with Kamara. I think by next week, he'll be good to go. Missed week 17 with the COVID protocols. Not certain, but it would look like he'd be okay to go. And what a weapon Kamara clearly is. And on November 1st, the Saints won 26-23, and that was an overtime game. And that was when Foles was at the helm of the Bears offense. Kamara had a big game that day. But here's what I'm getting at. Breezed in that game, 31-41 for 280. 31 completions for 280. It's all dink and dunk stuff. This Bears team, they're going to have to come up and force turnovers. But I think they got a shot here. I'd like them to cover the number. I think this number comes down. I think they're capable. You say they backed in. The bottom line is they're in. It's just like the NFC East winner. And then the get-out game on Sunday. Cleveland at Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh 3.5. Totals 47. I got a funny feeling 3s pop up because for whatever reason, and I'm going back 3 full years here in Vegas, sharp money all the time on the Browns. Well, now the Browns are good. Now they just played, and you get Cleveland with a 2-point win against Pittsburgh's backup. All the pressure in the world was on Cleveland to not mess up. They hung in there. Chubb had a good game. They can run the ball with Chubb and Hunt. Now you got to come back and play again the following week. And yeah, Roethlisberger's going to be in. But, the one thing, Roethlisberger, everything was underneath. He had that one good fourth quarter where he stretched the field. Pittsburgh did get to rest some guys. But the pressure and the weight of expectation was all over Cleveland in the game in Week 17. It's house money now. Stefanski's done a great job with that team. The total's 47. I can see this total maybe coming down. The weather forecast looks pretty good. Winds can swirl there, but doesn't look like precipitation. Temperature probably like around 38, 39, 40 degrees. A fun game. I think the Dogs are going to have their moments on Super Wildcard Weekend. It's a fun dynamic. We get 3 games Saturday, 3 games Sunday. And again, we always say this, and that's why we do the opening line report for you. Sometimes it's not who you bet. It's just as important when you bet them. It's been a fun season, and we're into the playoffs, and we'll be with you all the way to the Super Bowl right here at VegasInsider.com.